what do you usually think about when you hear the phrase, let's push each other or let's motivate each other? For me, when I hear that phrase, I typically take it very literally. Like, hey, let's hold each other accountable and let's push each other, right? Toward our goals or towards whatever it is that we want to accomplish. I think the phrase is just that, and we don't really think too much about it, right? We don't really overthink it. But today, I was on my weekly call with my accountability group, and I was just sharing something about how I typically have some kind of hesitation around sharing my progress and accomplishments for the week in fear of coming off as like I'm bragging, right? Because when I share, I'm sure like 99% of the time, my intention isn't to brag, right? My intention isn't to be like, oh, hey, like, look at me, like, I'm so awesome. I work so hard and celebrate me and, I'm better than you. Like, that's never really my intention when I share my progress. I typically share my progress because, like whatever reason, like, whether it's a significant task or, I feel great and accomplished or, maybe it was something that like I was dreading to do. Yeah, so my intention is never to brag. And the feedback that I got from the group was that it was really the exact opposite of what I was fearing. The group had shared with me that when I share my progress during the week, when I share my accomplishments, and when I just show people that, I'm not like lazing around and that I'm actually putting in the work and playing at a high level, it comes off the exact opposite of me bragging. At least within this accountability group, when I share, it inspires the other members that like, oh wow, like this guy is, putting in the work. It makes the, person that's reading the text or, like reading the progress for the week, it inspired them to think like, oh wow, like I could totally step it up and play at a higher level as well. And I would say that's kind of been my experience as well when, we're in this group text and when one of the guys, give the group like his updates for the week, just like, oh hey, like, I did like this and this, and I'm just like, wow, like this person is really going hard, and we're only halfway into the week. So when I see progress like that, it makes me check in with myself and kind of assess like, oh, okay, like where am I in terms of my progress and my weekly goals. And then, it's kind of like if I see that I'm kind of falling behind, then it inspires me and encourages me to step it up. And I guess like on the surface level, I never really thought about it that way because in a way it's kind of like, okay, I'm in a part of this accountability group and it's like, okay, we're here to kind of like motivate each other and hold each other accountable. So I guess like on a surface level, if I see someone like, not super motivated or they're kind of like struggling, then, I would try to be like motivating or like encouraging, or it's like, oh, like you can do it or whatever, right? So that's definitely one way to go about it. But when I got the feedback today that when I share my progress, it inspires other people to step it up, that kind of shifted my mindset a little bit because now I'm more thinking of like, oh wow, so to motivate other people, it isn't just all about, words of encouragement. So now it becomes like, okay, so if I work really hard and if I'm, playing really hard, playing as in I'm going hard, like I'm playing at a high level, not like playing in the kids' playground. What was I saying? But so now, the mindset kind of shifted to, okay, like there's more than one way to inspire and encourage and motivate others, right? And that is beyond just the words of encouragement and pushing people. There's also the other side, which is I can work hard and play at a high level because by me doing that and by other people witnessing me do that, it sparks something in the other person and it inspired the other person to work harder, to work faster, right? To, play at a higher level, like whatever that means. So I thought that was just really interesting and like I guess a perspective that I haven't really thought of in this way. And I will say that there are caveats to this on like different levels, because I think this can only work for individuals and the people in your life who are on a similar path, who are on a similar journey. So in a scenario where I feel like if you are someone who is very if you're someone who is very motivated to make progress in your life, to change your life circumstances, to achieve ambitious goals, and if you end up sharing that with the people around you, those who are on a similar path will totally understand where you're coming from and be inspired by your sharing. But for those people who are kind of not on a similar journey, or those people who have that what do you call it, like the crab bucket mentality, where a bunch of crab in a bucket, they end up like just kind of like clawing you down, so that like all the crab is on the bottom of the bucket, right? I don't know, whatever that saying is. If you share it with those people, they probably like will see your sharing as you're just fucking bragging, right? You're just posting stuff on social media and you're doing so great. So, one group of people will like understand and be inspired by that, and then the other group of people will be like, man, look at this fucking guy, like he's just fucking bragging again, right, on social media about how great and how awesome his life is. So I think there is a fine line, right, when you share, and but I think what is most important is where you are genuinely coming from, right? Like, what are your genuine intentions when you share these things to your group of people, right? Is it like a humble brag? It's like, oh, no big deal, but I just totally like, made like this much money, right? So yeah, there is a fine line when, you are sharing to truly share because you're really proud. You're sharing because it's like you just want to brag, or somewhere in the gray area where it's like you're sharing to like kind of humble brag, right? So there is a fine line. And yeah, it's not just the person who's sharing it, and what their intentions are and where they're coming from, but also like on the receiver's end, right? So the audience is like, if you are the audience, and you're like seeing the messages about like someone's accomplishment, like, are you someone who's coming from a scarcity mindset, or are you someone who's coming from an abundant mindset? So if you're coming from a scarcity mindset, you would kind of fall into the crab bucket mentality, where if you see someone who is, just assuming someone is sharing genuinely and, they're sharing because they're really actually proud and not just bragging or humble bragging. So if you're someone who is coming from a scarcity mindset and you see someone's progress, you can interpret it as like, man, fuck that guy. I could totally do better than him, or like, his accomplishments, they're not shit. Or if you're someone who is in the abundance category, then, you can interpret it as like, wow, like this guy totally like did really well. Man, if he can do it, like I can probably do it too. Or it's like, oh wow, he did so great. Like, man, I want to like get to this person's level like someday. So therefore, I'm gonna put in the effort. So yeah, there are a lot of fine lines in both the giver and the receiver's end. But yeah, I mean, I thought this was just a really interesting insight that I got today about how pushing and motivating other people isn't just about, words that you outwardly express. It can also just be about the actions and effort that you put in towards your own work and own purpose. And by doing that, you will you could inspire others to play at a higher level. So yeah, that's it. Hope that was insightful.